we're here at Krav Maga Portland with Mark Blank, our premier instructor. And today we're just talking a little bit about Krav Maga, what is it, and why would you want to get involved? So Mark, what is Krav Maga?
Krav Maga is an Israeli self-defense system. It was developed in Israel in the late 1940s and early 1950s. It was basically a military hand-to-hand fighting system. And it's been adapted for civilians now. And it still, of course, includes a lot of the military techniques, but it's just the emphasis and the way we train is to deal with modern day violence that civilians will normally experience. And it's an easy to learn system because it's based on instincts and reflexes, so it's very natural to people. The movements are very natural. Woo! Yes! You're able to defend against a much larger and more powerful attacker because we use basically leverage and positioning. Just your position in relation to the attacker, how you stand, and using leverage instead of strength. So a smaller woman, for example, can defeat a much larger attacker. And in addition to those 2 points, there's striking. Okay, we're going to strike really hard and really fast and repeatedly to very vulnerable targets. So the eyes, the throat, the groin, the knees are the primary targets. There's a lot of secondary ones, but basically those are going to do the most damage in the shortest amount of time. And those are targets that no one can really train to make stronger. So you can't really train your eyes to withstand a stab. You can't really train your groin to withstand a kick. These are the targets that a smaller person would be able to get away from the larger person if they are able to hit those. And so in this way, Krav Maga is very good for women and against men. So smaller versus larger attacker, smaller defender versus larger attacker. And it's easy to learn and it's easy to remember because it's very simple. You don't want to have to think about what to do in the heat of the battle. There's no time for that. Under adrenaline stress, you need to react immediately. You need to react very, very aggressively. So that aggressive fighting spirit is another huge thing that we teach people right away, to be able to, continue to fight even when the odds are against them. Maybe they're hurt already, maybe they're disoriented or just, frozen with fear. But we need to break through that and continue to fight aggressively and to strike repeatedly and as hard as we possibly can.
Until the threat is neutralized and then you run, right?
Exactly.
That was my favorite part, actually. Get away.
Yeah. It's not your job to take the person into custody. That's law enforcement. It's not your job to punish them, of course.
You may want to.
You may want to, but your job is to get away safely and get home.
Makes sense. I love the mindset portion of that. Of course I do. Mindset is everything, right? Aggressive
Absolutely.
fighting spirit. And how do you train to that?
We do drills in class that will involve multiple attackers, and you'll be involved with one exercise. Maybe you're striking a pad repeatedly, doing a hammer fist strike on a pad, and then all of a sudden you're taken from behind in a bear hug or a choke. And so the sense of disorientation and surprise are things that you need to be, able to fight through. So you need to experience that. You can train a technique in a nice sterile environment and have nice padded floors and take your time and try to get it perfect and all that. But that's not the type of dynamic, the type of mental and physical dynamic that you need to be able to use that in a real fight for your life situation.
Makes sense.
Do you have to train for years to be able to have that, or you have a seminar coming up October 18th where it's a women's self-defense seminar, and so it's 3 hours long. Is that somebody
Yes.
who takes that? What can they expect to have afterwards?
You're going to learn the basic strikes, the ones that will be most useful and most natural. Good, yeah, nice. And we'll show them how to use their total body, get their total body mass into it by using rotation. For example, an elbow strike would be much stronger if I use my body rotation instead of just using my arm. One more. Nice. So we teach you how to use your total body. In that way, you'll develop much greater impact power. Nice. Harder. Good. Woo! All right. In the seminar on October 18th, it'll be 3 hours. We'll start with verbal boundaries, so you'll be able to deal with a person who's coming up to you, getting in your face, for example. Maybe, for a woman, maybe saying lewd or,
Mean things.
yeah, mean things. So those are the types of things that the attacker does before he would actually do a physical attack, is to do what they call an interview. They want to see how you react. They want to test you out. They would start by just talking to you to try to feel out, what your response might be. Are you a submissive person, or are you already getting a little bit aggressive, or maybe assertive is actually what we should be saying. We don't want to, if we get too aggressive on the other end of the scale, then that'll often be like pouring gasoline on the fire. It makes it worse. So assertiveness is really what we want to teach the women, how to that type of mindset, that type of body language and posture, the assertive posture. And then usually they can talk their way out of a bad situation. If the guy thinks that this woman is going to get in trouble,
He won't bother.
Yeah. So in addition to teaching verbal boundaries and assertive body language, we want to teach the physical techniques. Okay, so they're going to go through a series of drills where they'll go down the line and they'll be striking the pads with using the techniques that we taught them. We'll show them how to use their whole body to get more impact power, and then we'll move into the actual self-defense portion of the seminar, where we'll teach them the techniques, and then we have padded assailants wearing suits of body armor, and the good thing about this is that the women can strike full power, full speed, and not have to worry about hurting their training partner.
Awesome.
So it's very realistic.
Shirley got it. Just tagging you after a show.
And at the end of the seminar, what we'll do is actually do multiple attackers. The padded assailants will be 2-on-1. First they start defending against one attacker, and then maybe they gain a position of advantage, and then all of a sudden they'll be taken in a headlock or a choke by another attacker. So it's an ongoing series of defenses, and it's amazing what the women can do. The thing is that this type of training is very stressful physiologically. It gets the adrenaline pumping through their bloodstream, and one of the things that scientists have found out is that whatever you learn under adrenaline stress gets retained much better than learning, fighting skills, for example, under the sterile environment of the dojo, for example. So in a 3-hour seminar, the amount of ability that women will gain is just huge, just because we're able to bring them through all the way from somebody getting in your face and talking them down, being successful with that, and then all the way, if that doesn't work, of course, then they learn the physical skills to be able to defeat the real attackers. And the padded assailants they're about as real as we can get. They look very, very intimidating. They're big padded suits, they've got helmets, and they're very scary. So the women are under adrenaline stress the whole time. At the end of the seminar, they're just shaking. That's just one of the things that adrenaline does to you.
I can see how that would be so much more valuable than just being in great shape, working out, and
without any skills. Exactly. I mean, physical fitness is very important for self-defense, but if you don't know the techniques, if you haven't practiced them under physiological stress, they're just not going to be available to you when you're actually attacked. Mentally, you won't be able to remember what to do because you're being so
Scared.
So frozen.
So that's October 18th.
October 18th
2 to 5.
from 2 to 5 p.m. at our school in Milwaukee on International Way.
Awesome. We'll see you there.